Welcome to the Three Shades of Squad! The previous chapter ended on a cliffhanger that spawned fandom speculation out the wazoo, as if chapter 140 didn't just set us up for a bunch of backstory that would make more sense if they were still alive. And so when Iris and Routine went for the throat, not on Megane's watch, Megane does to Iris what we all want to do to Ubel. Choke up! This chapter stays true to what was said in chapter 141, that everything will most likely take place behind the scenes, and only behind the scenes, without destroying the ball that is supposed to represent the symbol of peace. This video will cover chapter 143, Mind Games, and the Mind Games begins. I would also like this image as a wall scroll, please, and thank you. Back to the symbol of peace, dancing ball, where Fern and Stark notices the Shadow Warriors that are still at the ball and not at the ball. Fern is still bloodthirsty. Yeah, she remembers that one time she pew-pewed from really far away. The goddess magic using Shadow Warrior Commander in Training lore. Part of Fern's character development in this arc is not acting on impulse and being able to think rationally. I'm sure that's not gonna bite her in the cake for developing such an obvious flaw, given Fern's growing propensity for being Ubel Seri level of wanting to be reckless. They take notice that Gorilla, Werlos, and Lore are MIA. One is recovering from Fern PTSD, one is an old dwarf that likes cats, and the other will cause GoTP to make his move to find out about his connection to Shrit. Wait a minute, WTF man, Shrit was here the whole time? Just blasted, and she's a soulless redhead? Say it ain't so, Gorilla. Please tell me this is truly your sister, Gorilla, because she ain't the one, bro. She's literally for the streets. GoTP will put you back on the path of pulling older ladies. On a more serious note, she has to be some kind of drunken swordmaster, right? Right? It's time. Frieren, incensed, says something that gets the great mage Seri, aka the feet goddess, to wiggle her toes. Seri is seriously waiting her turn for whatever Commander Reve got cooked up, and whatever Captain Frase is waiting on. Looks like Sense has Frieren, Fern, Stark, and GoTP go find Falsh to follow his orders. Just when we thought Ubel and Megane was out here trying to provide cover on the sidelines, it looks like it was all actually Sense's plans to have this happen. We already knew that Ubel doesn't think Sense, you don't have to tell us. But the big takeaway here between Sense and Seri's conversation is that they do have an advantage over warriors like Sense does, as we'll see shortly. However, Seri points out that while they do have the tactical advantage, we still don't know exactly how strong the Shadow Warriors are. I mean, if they look like Shrit, Team Seri got this in the bag. This arc and chapter is very reminiscent of the first class mage exam. The first few arcs in Frieren teaches us about how the world works when it comes to judging people's abilities and strength. Zoltrak was introduced as being a foundational modern day battle magic. Naturally, the Shadow Warriors will have a resistance to Zoltrak like Iris mentions here. During Frieren's fight with Demon Anya Forger, it proves, well, if we doing power levels, then yeet yourself! That arc and future arcs prove that power levels alone, or the amount of mana that you have alone, doesn't mean that you're invincible. This is where all the lessons of the first class mage exam show up once again. Catching the little steel bird was about sensing mana, hiding mana, and capturing that explosive son of a bitch. During the battle, Iris, Routine, Ubel, and Megane are all sizing up their opponents to figure out what they can do in real time. Iris already figures out that Ubel is the intuitive mage that doesn't think, and so she can cast magic relatively fast. Megane does cast magic, but he is the opposite, meaning he is the overthinker here, and he fights so underhanded that would make Flamme and Frieren proud. With his ability to clone himself, he gets around being poisoned, and apparently they can't sense mana, so he doesn't need to do the extra work to hide what he's doing. The fact that Ubel can sense everyone's flow of mana, she will rely on her ability to sense mana to help get around this big shield of routines. She mentions something specifically about timing, so depending on how Routine unknowingly manipulates her mana, this may be the exact signal Ubel needs to get the advantage back in her fight. The second exam was about flaws and weaknesses. This right here is one of our most crucial lessons because it means aura alone doesn't mean you can't be yeeted by someone weaker or someone that has a specific advantage over you. Like how Stark has a distance advantage over Frieren and Fern. This is exactly what Megane and Ubel are facing right now, as we find out more about what Routine and Iris are truly capable of. Just as it looked like Iris and Routine grabbed the advantage of Megane and Ubel, no! Pew pew! Iris goes straight for the poison needles and swings those suckers like it got our poor red-headed shonen. But Megane is like, not on my land! Routine is just chilling up there like she's Spider-Man and finally decides to go for a drop kick, but Ubel knocks her land out of the way for a counter. But Routine is quite the nimble one, and so Ubel swings Routine off of her staff. During this entire battle, Captain Frosset and Kanone discuss their next course of actions, but Clematis and Falch are using their abilities to already help hide the battle that's happening behind the scenes, leading people away from the action. Keep note of what Captain Freza says here and her attitude. She acknowledges how capable both sides are right now between the Shadow Warriors and Ceres group, but she doesn't seem concerned just yet. Kanone points out that they do have a chance to capture the Shadow Warriors, but Captain Frosset tells her to stand by. At the same time, Clematis was actually keeping tabs on Routine and Iris the entire time. He recognizes that they don't really have a choice now anyways, and to just engage. Ubel Routine continue duking it out and grabs the sword and shield off the knight armor to fight back. So Ubel can't cut everything after all, or can she? Once again, Sorganelle proves that it can be kinda useless unless she can see all of Routine. She needs to be able to see Routine's entire body, and that means clothes included. We got one of them Frieren motifs that pop up again. Ubel can't imagine cutting the shield as she sees it more as an obstacle than like an attached piece of clothing. Like all the times mentioned before, magic is made through the powers of imagination, so we can likely expect Ubel to find a creative way to get around her mental block. And it would be pretty scary for Ubel if she's able to build upon all the spells that she steals. Routine might be the most unaware of what her opponent can do right now, as Ubel is super unpredictable, but she knows the shield is mostly protecting her. Routine actually has the advantage right now on her and even got Ubel clocked in the head. One of the nice relationship-oriented developments is Ubel's continued understanding that she doesn't want to hurt Megane's feelings. For some reason, this chick is ready to go for the double KO, yeet herself and her opponent, but she won't for the sake of Megane, who feels the same.
Aww.
Megane fights like a pure asshole, and I completely love it, shooting poison needles right back at her while she's running away. He still casts his spells really fast for a mage. He's a clone, so poisons don't work. He's an overthinker compared to Ubel, but she'll start to see a flaw in his clone very soon. If we didn't already get the hint from the fingernail incident, this chick Iris is a goddamn masochist! Oh my god. Ubel has met her match. She gotta get her throat game up. Pain and suffering doesn't make her unconscious. It makes her alive. Megane clearly has the advantage in this fight, but starts realizing some downsides. Iris is way more resilient than he thought. Defensive magic is way too slow against her, and if Ubel was the one fighting her, she'd be yeeted. I feel like they say this a lot when it comes to Ubel. And this also introduces the possibility that at some point, maybe Ubel has to fight Iris instead. Given Lineal's and Falch's intel about her resistance to poison, it didn't quite say that she can't be choked out. it might end up being a battle of attrition and one that is against Megane, probably because he has to maintain all of his clones. And one massive mystery to Megane's ability is the fact that he is still protecting his neck from Iris's needles, meaning he is still vulnerable in some way to her physical attacks, or it's somehow a link to his real body. As Ubel fights Routine, she also doesn't realize how much faster the Shadow Warriors are, but it's really the shield that's holding her back in this battle. That is when, like I mentioned before, Ubel notices Megane not hiding how he is using his mana, which gives her an idea that she will utilize this mana detection against Routine. Sari is right that Megane and Ubel are actually compatible. Even as a duo in a fight, they have complementary perspectives and they know each other's strengths and weaknesses pretty well. Even realizing that in the battle itself, they can learn from each other, like how Ubel is right now. Like Ubel, we expect Megane to cook up a plan to gain an advantage, but it might be pretty cool to see if Ubel is the one that allows them to gain the advantage back with how she is going to use her mana detection and whatever that timing she is referring to leads to. And maybe by the time Ubel does figure out how to get past the shield, what if Iris and Routine end up switching fights to the more favorable opponent? Could this be the end of Ubel? You know what, guys? I hope no one gets yeeted. I kinda like all the Shadow Warriors too. In this case of Ubel and Megane, I feel like they have a bit too much unexplored backstory that was teased to just allow them to be yeeted off without somehow connecting that backstory back to them. And I feel like it makes some sense that at some point Ubel will be able to clone herself. And if someone must get yeeted, it's probably gonna be Megane first. For this chapter, all the surface level stuff seems pretty straightforward. I just enjoy how this chapter and the arc, it reinforces the Frieren themes and motifs within the fight. And in chapter 141, it said exactly how the fights are gonna go, and it's going exactly how Clematis, Captain Frase, and Frieren said it would go. And one other thing that I didn't really take into account is how both sides will have to try to maintain order as well. I just thought the Magic Special Forces would be the one maintaining the order, but it might be beneficial for both sides to use their own manpower to prevent any extra casualties or being found out. If anyone found out about what was happening behind the scenes, it would be catastrophic for everyone politically, as this will tear down the entire deal of what the symbol of peace is. So that other dimension of someone like Falsh and Clematis using their powers to basically move people away from the battlefield, that is another interesting dynamic to the story. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys thought about chapter 143 of Frieren. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and continue to let me know if you guys enjoyed this kind of format of how I cover the Frieren manga chapters. And do me a favor, guys, hit the like button for choking out bad guys. And subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my blog at otakusen.com. Check out my previous videos on Frieren and Dandadan, and check out my second channel where I cover Sword of the Demon Hunter and the Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.